So first question would be, can you introduce yourself and your company?
Okay. So my name is Celina Mukarker. I'm working as a VC associate and the head of community at Benson Oak Ventures. Benson Oak Ventures is an Israeli fund that focuses on consumer, digital SMBs and Web3 investments. We invest in early stage companies, mostly seed and pre-seed. And we're agnostic in our focus. So we invest in anything specifically around passionware, businesses that can help people create their own initiatives and business.
Okay, so like how many times you travel to Korea?
This is my third time in Korea, but this is the first time that I'm actually like focused with meetings. My second time coming here was exploring the accelerators and the ecosystem out of interest, of my own personal interest. I was curious to learn about the tech scene here, some of the companies that are exploring the AI and content creation in relation to our interest in the fund and our thesis. And this time it's more focused with the approach, really hands-on with meeting investors. So it's super exciting.
Okay, so like what's the biggest difference you can see from Korean investors or Korean founders compared to people from Europe or America?
I think there, in terms of when I looked at the decks preparing to meet the startups, I think they're very polished in their decks. You can see the passion, the preparation and commitment in the deck before meeting the founders, and I think that's something unique. Whether it's from sharing their expertise and the things that they've done before to really validate their experience for the person that is checking their deck and the investor. That really sends a message when you're checking their deck before. And also in the way that they present their technology and their team. So I found that as unique in relation to European and US startups, where it can be mostly around the product, less on the people. And usually the people, you get to know them through the first meeting.
Right.
And I feel like when I was checking the decks for Korean startups, I feel I have less things to check when I meet the people, maybe more personality, just because the experience and the commitment they showed in the deck was really outstanding and made me feel at ease, and now I focus on the product and the startup in the meeting.
Okay, so you mentioned decks because Korean startups and Korean founders focus on their like how to make more beautiful, more pretty of their decks. So it really matters. Like if some decks are not good to see,
Yes,
it matters.
It matters because for investors, like it takes less than 2 minutes for you to evaluate if a deck is interesting
How many
or
slides?
not. Like usually from the first slides, you can tell if it's worth it or not.
Okay.
And if it's worth it, you go through the rest of the slides. Usually if it's organized with a clear problem, a clear market and validation of the need that exists in the market, and then going to the solution, you can already feel that there is something there that is interesting. It has an opportunity and opportunity to grow. So you continue with that. And sometimes from the beginning, few simple mistakes, even misspelling mistakes,
You just pass it.
can be a no.
Wow.
Because if you're putting that effort into really sending a deck to investor, at least make sure that your slides are with no grammar mistakes, that are clear and that are organized. That's the least things you can do when you're sending a deck. The least. And then you can be creative, like founders sending a very creative email to grab your attention. Because we get a lot of emails. So it's about how creative you can be in showcasing your product and also why you're doing that product. A lot of founders try to sell products for problems that are not necessarily ones that are validated for the market.
So, like, do you make slides as well?
I do make slides as part of my job. I help portfolio companies design their slides and give them feedback on their slides. But yeah, I do have some small design skills, so I do help them design, because I used to work also in my previous job as an accelerator manager, so I used to do a lot of decks for the board. And it was a very sharp board of like very high-tech leaders, from the CEO of Facebook in Israel to other really high-level people. So I was always like sharp with my slides, and I wanted to make sure that I pass that to the founders when I can. But of course, you want to make sure that they do their own thing.
Right.
Because it needs to represent them, and you can just give feedback when you can.
So in terms of like design of your slides, like a 1 to 10, what score you would put?
For my slides,
Yeah.
I would say I would give it an 8.
8
Modest
out of 10.
8 out of 10.
Okay.
Just from my experience, because I also used to create designs for content for the educational accelerator that I used to run. So I can modestly say I have some experience, because they still use my slides even after 5 years. And I left the program 3 years ago, like the accelerator, and they still use my slides. So I
Okay.
think that says a lot.
So like let's move on to the questions about Fosterbridge. So again, 1 to 10, Fosterbridge.
Ooh, I would give it an 8.
Okay.
I think it was a very light beginning in terms of the event. The opening ceremony was really good. I felt it was organized, and I think the speakers were very articulate with the points that they're giving, and it was also short and to the point. It was interesting, and the fact that they sparked discussions among the table was also good. Like every speaker came up and gave a topic, and then I saw a lot of discussion happening on my table that was interesting, and reflections after the talk. So I think that's also for me an indicator that it was a successful keynote speaker or a successful topic discussed. And it left us with like one thing to think about. And you can see like a lot of people taking pictures, because I think there was a lot of interesting stats.
Right.
To like, for me at least, I'm gonna get back to and review and take a few things out of it.
And we're gonna open the Fosterbridge in 25 and 26 as well. What kind of advice can you give us to make it better?
I think there's, at least from our ecosystem, I think there's a lot of people that would be more interested in such an event. I think from the variety of people that I saw, I just imagine if it was more diverse and more people, I think
More
there's going to be
diversity.
a lot of interest. Like there's a lot of investors here, which is super impressive. But I feel more people would be interested in specific industries. Like I
Right.
know back home, there's specific investors really focused on deep tech and AI, similar to like the Korean ecosystem. So I feel like more of those investors would be also helpful for the Korean ecosystem here. To really bring them on here to invest and do more connections. So it's like, it feels this year it's like a taste, and I feel in the next few years like more fruitful, but at the same time my advice not too big.
Right, not too big.
Because I
Yes.
feel like I was able to connect with a lot of people because it's not too big, and I don't
Right.
feel overwhelmed. Like I've been circling around
Yeah,
tables.
don't remember someone.
Yeah, and getting few tips and like connecting and having small conversations here and there. And sometimes when it's very large events, you get overwhelmed.
Right.
People get into like small circles of the people that they know.
Exactly.
And then these conversations that are like
Meaningless.
meaningful and interesting conversations don't get to happen. So, yeah.
Right. So, and any message to your colleagues or family or friends?
Definitely come to Korea. No, it's a really interesting ecosystem, and I would really recommend people to come check it out. Beyond the culture and the amazing food and
All right.
the people that are here, I really think it's worth taking a deep look into the ecosystem here, because there's a lot happening and there's interesting tech to explore.
Nice. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks for your time.